Mondays to Fridays, 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. in the newsroom. You can't afford to miss it.
Good afternoon and welcome to today's edition of this program in the newsroom. President Muhammadu Buhari has told governors of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC that he needs their support in choosing his successor. If some of us could deduce to your darling program in the newsroom. We are sorry about that short break in transmission. It was as a result of some technical issues. But we are back, and we are back fully. The program is in the newsroom. President Muhammadu Buhari has told governors of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC that he needs their support in choosing his successor. The implication of that is that the PDP and the APC, will eventually settle for a consensus candidate. And again, all eyes are on the People's Democratic Party presidential candidate, Alhaji Abubakar Atiku, as he picks his running mate for the 2023 presidential election. And not only that, the board of trustees of that party has also said it will assist in providing a suitable running mate for Atiku Abubakar. And lastly on the program today, a journalist with the Nation newspaper, Toba Adedeji, and a lady were allegedly shot yesterday by police officers during a protest organized by some aggrieved youth. Toba, of course, a journalist, and you should know that where there is a protest, it is not something that is unusual to find journalists there. Unfortunately, these aggrieved youth are also protesting the killing of one Abiola Afolabi, again allegedly by the police. So it's not a laughing matter, but we are in Nigeria, so many things are happening. So these are the issues we are taking a look at on today's edition of this program in Newsroom. You are welcome once again. My name is Abiodun Oladere, and the team is set. Let me welcome Adewale Adeomi. Good to see you. You are welcome.
All right, thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Good to see you too. It's quite long we were together on the show.
Thanks for inviting me to come and join you today.
Akinla Adenito, you're also welcome.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
You are not in the normal room today. Okay, let's go straight to business. Adewale Adeomi. President Buhari is appealing. Some has also using the word beg the APC governors to allow him to choose his successor. How will you react to that?
If you remember, either last week or week before, I said that the system is operating like under an emperor. If you remember, I said that because we were talking about then that they had not decided how they're going to do the primary and all that. And I said that the fact that at that late hour, when it was just a few days to that original date, May 29, or 23rd, was it? Anyway, it was a few days to that.
You tried twice, not so.
Again, twice. I said that the fact that they had not decided was that they were waiting on a decision from the president. And I said and what we are seeing now is that the president has now called all the governors and pleading with them to let him decide on his successor. Are we in a democracy? We are in a democracy, yes.
It means that the party may likely go for consensus.
Exactly. The party may go for consensus.
Is consensus not part of democracy?
Well, it's part of democracy if every aspirant agrees or willingly step down. But what I'm saying is that this that we are doing now is what should have been done 6 months or 8 months or a year ago, even over a year ago. When you have 23 aspirants vying for the same position, then you all along the way should have thrown them down by different ways, either debates or whatever kind of primary, like they do in America, in the United States that I'm aware of. They hold debates and town hall meetings all over 1, 2, 3, and one by one, individuals will drop out, drop off, until it's narrowed down to 3 or 4 or 5. And then the 4 or 5 will narrow down to 2. Eventually, they go to their convention, it becomes 1. What we are doing now is what should have been, the exercise should have been started a year ago.
I'll stick up to Ogutomi.
Yeah.
Mr. President is saying he will prefer a candidate that will reflect all the values and virtues of the APC. So he's pleading that they should allow him to pick someone that will be suitable in that respect.
Yes, the APC is trying to do something that is radically different from what they've been doing in the past in this country. But as the first speaker here rightly said, I don't think, I doubt whether we are not being thrown ourselves into greater confusion that we are trying to solve. You want somebody who will meet the certain conditions that you envisage your party represent, and you allow more than 20 people to purchase forms for 100 million naira, and you allow them to go from one state to another, from one palace of a traditional ruler to another, selling their candidature, telling people what they will be able to do or what they will not be able to do. Then at the late hour, you are now saying you want somebody to pick one of them.
So you are not comfortable with that?
Will that solve the problem of disunity among them?
Okay.
Will they come out stronger if the president, you see, we have different forms of government. We have aristocracy, we have plutocracy, we have democracy, we have maybe this selectocracy is what we want to practice. We should have done this selection much earlier than now.
I'll come to you. Akala, the chairman of the Progressive Governors Forum and the governor of Kebbi State, Atiku Bugudu, in his response said, we will, I'm quoting him now, we will support Mr. President to have a very successful convention. He said convention, not selection or consensus. What do you think the governor was trying to say there?
The governor had made a statement that is simple on the surface that we shall support the president. So to have a successful convention, it's just a matter of semantics, but the intention or whatever is purported to be said is to talk about enabling the president to have a successful transition. That is the purport of the statement of the governor of Kebbi State, that they will support Mr. President to have a successful transition. But like the argument itself or the confusion that has been rightly used by somebody here is Mr. President saying that he would decide who succeed him. Ordinarily, across every clan, every human being who sees somewhere is also interested in who comes after him. And that is no sin. And there are many ways to achieve that democratically. And what we have seen playing out is the insincerity of Mr. President. If Mr. President is sincere about the transition of power smoothly, particularly from a region to another region, there are things that you do. The president has a body language and is in control of the party. In light of democracy, we understand the way to work. Mr. President would have called all these people together and said, look, this time around, based on our party's, mutual understanding, power should go to this part of place. Please, if you are from this region, please, there is no need for you to contest. Then those from that region, please limit the number of those, go to your house, resolve, and present one or two persons so that we can have a neater and a very nicer, platform. But the man kept silent. He kept a sinister silence, so this unexpected of a leader. And now, few days to now, that was what he did in the period surrounding the emergence of the party leadership. He was outside Nigeria. There was whether somebody, Niger State governor, taking over of the secretaries in Abuja. The governor of Yobe State who was acting, who was the caretaker chairman, had to travel to London to go and meet him. It was until then, now said, okay, leave him. He said that on the emergence of Adamu, there was a lot of interest until a fortnight to the convention itself. It was resolved that they have settled down on Adamu. It's not too neat. It does not suggest that you are a Democrat. It's just pretense. You are not dealing with people who are foolish, after all. So people can read minutes to one or two things. You should try to, whatever is worth doing at all, you do it, then you do it and do it pleasantly and neatly, not cleverly in such a manner that it brings further confusion. As it is today, as well now, you are bringing further confusion. If you look at the the polemics in the political circle, you discover that there is tension is high, that they want to scheme on a popular candidate, they want to use consensus, they didn't support the consensus in Lagos while you opposing consensus in Abuja. It's just the president that has given rise to this. Under his watch, his ministers they never decided they were contesting election. Where did they get, how could they afford 400 million from Mr. All of these things suggest that the president is
I want to take this along. The chairman of the Presidential Screening Committee is Chief
John
Odige Oyegun, the former governor of Edo State. And if you look at the political situation within that party, the APC, it's as if some people are saying he was brought to do a particular job, knowing fully well that he's not in the same camp with a particular candidate. I don't know if that candidate is popular, but a particular candidate. Or aspirant, sorry.
Of course, such is the opinion, but those things, the chairman of the screening committee does not have powers to do that. The party, the constitution, which is the grand norm, by provision of section 175, if I'm correct, has laid down the conditions, criteria to be qualified for the position of the president. The electoral act has also provided that. The party, the APC, constitution has also provided that. So this guideline, you cannot go outside this guideline and say because you want to scheme out somebody. For example, if you do that, it is laughable because it is to the detriment of the party. You remember what happened in San Francisco? They were trying to be smarter than half. Look at PDP that didn't even contest the election. And the Supreme Court had to bring to PDP took over the government of where they never won because the ruling party was being spammed. In this way, if you say a candidate, you brought somebody in to come and scheme somebody out of the contest, and you bring such a grant that is not in conformity with the provision of the law, you have just played to the hands of the opposition. It's simple for them. They can make that mistake, of course, But remember that for the only opposition to APC is APC. It is only APC that can crash APC, and it was PDP that defeated PDP when Jonathan lost and PDP crashed. So it is APC that also defeated APC that way APC will crash. So this internal issues.
For now, the convention is slated for 6, 7, and 8 of June, just some 6 days away from weekend. And after that meeting by Mr. President and the governors of the APC, immediately after the meeting, most of them left the venue immediately. But some governors waited, Imo, Ogun, Kano, and they engaged in certain discussions with the Secretary of Government of the Federation and the Chief of Staff. What do you think they could still they could be staying back for?
Well, they may have pressing matters that have to do with their state that they want to take, they want to seek the face of the president for, and they know normally you want to go through the Chief of Staff to the president and the SGF. But whatever they might have been doing, we can't know.
This time we read meaning to everything.
This is what we have said. That even in a gerontocracy, things you do things timely. Ordinarily, people will begin to impugn the integrity of Mr. President on this matter. There is no way. Look at the language being used. You want to screen somebody out, you want to scheme somebody out. We know the popular candidate we are talking about. So and this particular candidate is a human being. If you had called him maybe 6 months ago and said, look, it's like I want to use this man or I have somebody else in the north, he could have reasoned along with you. And if he would be saying no, he may opt out of your political party and join other platform to advance his own interest. But when you keep quiet, I think we have kept quiet. Mr. President had kept quiet on too many burning issues in this country to his own detriment and to the detriment of the whole nation. I wouldn't expect a ruling party that has been in charge for 7 years not to know the direction of things. And so now you now wait till the tail end to call people together. Are we practicing dictatorship? Is it oligarchy? What are we talking about? If you ask, if you ask people to be going around.
Let me ask you this.
Yes.
Yes, as it is now, Mr. President will pick his successor.
Yes.
Whether he will win or not, let's leave that for now.
Yeah.
Or how do you think the other aspirants will react to that?
They are not, they are human beings. This is what we are saying. If you are paid, if you have traversed this country, taking the risk, look at Bola Tinubu, for instance, at his age, going from one place to the other, looking for, getting support from people. We know the truth, and we can't hide the truth.
Amechi also went round.
And look at Rotimi Amechi. Look at
only that went round all the time.
Yes,
he was the only one who covered every state.
There is none of them that you now tell today to go and sit down that is likely to be happy with you. And this, what my brother said, is still there. You may find out that the APC may be the major undoing of the APC in the coming contest.
Yes, it appears as if the three of you share the same sentiment.
Yes,
but we see how some people who are in support, let me put it that way, of the position of Mr. President, like Ojuzo Kanu. He said there is nothing wrong with Mr. President picking his successor.
Yes, when I read the comment by Ojuzo Kalu this morning, I laughed. He's a chief whip, right? Mm-hmm. And he also is, if not was, one of the aspirants that are vying for president, at least who paid 100 million to get the form. And now he's saying that Mr. President should be allowed to pick. Could it be that he is, he sees that he has lost his own position and he's now advocating or trying to find a way, find relevance for himself? If a northerner is picked for presidency, then a southerner for vice president. Who knows? So I agree with the president. I think it's subjective from my own standpoint.
Do you see the party being able to come out of this arrangement at the end of the day? Come out stronger?
Well, stronger is relative, but the party will come out of it because this is the major small test for the APC. The PDP has survived it and it has remained the only formidable party in Nigeria. I'm not a member of any of them anyway. But the PDP has survived some of these challenges and it has remained the longest and the most considered party in Nigeria. The APC is undergoing its first small test of transition for power from persons to person. So now this is President Buhari transiting power to another person in the party and to another region, or so to speak. So, and this is going to determine, and if you look at the interest of other regions in the election, it has also shown how complex the situation is. But because it's such a large political party, it will come out of the whole thing. Number one, some of the contenders today, the major actors, have benefited so much in the APC. Some of them also are people who return from the PDP, so they can't go back there. Amechi cannot go back to PDP. But I think will not go to PDP.
They are talking the ideal.
No, I'm not even talking the ideal. I know he cannot go back. I'm not being. I sound so finite, like I'm predicting another human being, but sounding so finite. But I know that.
No, actually, it will be difficult for Amechi.
It will be difficult for what he did. He didn't need the PDP. It was, in fact, he turned the PDP and destroyed it. It was easy for Bukola Saraki to go back. But if you look at what Amechi did to Jonathan, did a lot of interest, it will be difficult. Jonathan now, either genuine or no, wanted to come to the APC, but it's difficult. It's not if it's so easy, just go to your work. Now, what I'm saying is that the APC will come out of it. They will resolve the whole of things and present the presidential candidate. But issues like this, note it, is what is going to be the undoing of the APC. Just as it happened to PDP.
Mr. President, Muhammadu Buhari has gotten away with so many things. Things that ordinary Nigerians protested against during even Obasanjo, Jonathan, what have you. But no number of times, fuel prices had rate and Nigerians will just keep quiet and nothing will happen. Don't you think we are likely to experience the same thing, whatever the Mr. President does?
It's not wrong for him to try to choose somebody who will succeed him in office. It's not wrong. What we are saying is the timing. It should be done at a reasonable time. But let me remind you,
most of them would have
the respect and honor Nigerians have extended to Mr. President in the past 7 years, partly because of his pedigree as a former military leader that everybody respected that time, but mainly because of people who surround him. Look today, in the labor circle today, if they want to cause any problem in Nigeria, and Tinubu says, oh, labor, please. You know, he has so many people that are respected across the nation, that people that help him, I would guess, to douse tension most of the
don't
time.
have a favorite among the aspirants. Because
No.
Okay, I'll still come to you. Okay. He has mentioned that name about 2 occasions, so that was why I have to ask that question. I don't. Now, as it is, Mr. President will have his way. Do you agree?
It's looking like that. It's looking that way because of the so-called traditional thing. We respect elders. We defer to them, to their decisions. We allow them to have their way. We allow them to decide or dictate. When APC held its convention to elect its national officers, it was the president who was given the so-called respect to have his way and dictate who the chairman will be and the rest of them. So the same thing is likely to be going on now and might still happen, that everybody will end up deferring to the decision of the president or the wish of the president.
People will just be complaining. We'll move to the next question now. Starting with Tony. The People's Democratic Party, PDP, had conducted its own convention, and a winner had emerged, Atiku Abubakar. This will be the second time we'll be picking the ticket of APC. PDP, sorry. He picked it 3 years ago now, not 4. So he was also the candidate of that party. Now, Okutomi, what do you think the emergence of Atiku Abubakar portends? Let's start from there.
Well, a long time ago, before they even held their presidential primary in the PDP, it occurred to me that he was likely going to win the way he has turned out to be, because it's been around for quite a long time. Remember that Atiku in 1993, under the platform of the Social Democratic Party, came third in at Jos Township Stadium, Plateau State. I was the reporter that covered that event in 1993. He came third, was defeated by MKO Abiola and Babagana Kingibe. It was in AC Action Congress in 2007. He had contested under the platform of the PDP before in 2011 and was defeated. He also was with APC in 2015. And in 2019, he also lost to Buhari. That has made many people to call him serial loser. But within the party,
Was Jonathan? I mean, was when?
No, well, maybe Atiku time has come. You see now, in that political party, that political family, is one of the leading lights, most senior. And as the former vice president of the country, I believe that the APC must have realized how serious the contest in 2023 is likely to be, because Atiku is not a pushover. Don't forget, he's married to a Yoruba woman, he's married to an Igbo woman, and he's from the northeast.
He's also married to a Moroccan lady.
You
understand? Maybe I should let you know that.
The international person.
I think Atiku Abubakar is also a political gladiator that we must watch.
Okay, Akala, you will recall that the southern governors met in Delta and later in Lagos, insisting that the presidency the candidate of the parties must come from the south. And let's look at the performance of Wike. Let's say Wike, the governor of Rivers State. He came second with 237 votes against the 371 of Atiku. And he has come out to inform Nigerians that he was betrayed by his own people. How will you react to that?
I said it now, simple simplicity. I was betrayed.
Is betrayal not part of politics?
No, it's not. It's part of human life. It's one of the evils of human life that you betray people. I mean, it's not that essentially it must be associated with politics, but it's just part of life. Betrayal is betrayal and it's wrong. Even in politics too. That's why that Mahatma Gandhi said that politics without principle is I forgot how it
deadly sin.
It's a deadly sin. Thank you, sir. So betrayal is also part of that unprincipled politics. So when we say one A must be A, Y must be Y, that's the way it should be. The only thing you will say is that, I mean, to me, the take home here is that it has further shown that people, we want power, we don't understand the responsibility of power. And we are just hypocrites in most of our in most of what we profess and confess. It's only in the media that we tell them, we describe them as ambition. For example, if the people of the South, at the highest level of leadership in the South, governors of the South across all parties, converge on Lagos and converge against something around in Asaba and agree that look, power must move to the south, and they spoke tough, and the nation rose listening to them. Now from number one political party that had this primary, you still see people from other parts of the country contesting to them, or even in that region. In the south alone, you had how many aspirants? You have you had Udom from Cross River. You have Akwa Ibom. You have the governor of Rivers State, Wike. You have about 4 or 5.
So you see, why I first asked you that question, because the question has a clue that is because the first meeting of the southern governors was hosted by Governor Fiai Okowa of Delta State. And reports flying around is that he voted. He directed his delegates. You know, governors are powerful to vote for Atiku.
Yes, that's why.
And that is why now he's being considered for the position of the vice president of Atiku.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said that it shows that the southern people are unserious and driven by ambition. Number one, you know that this thing is based on vote. And the vote is not done on the strength of religion. It's done on the strength of equality. And there were 774 delegates at the PDP convention, representing one local government in Nigeria. So somebody look at the whole of Kano State alone has 44 local government. Osun has 30, that's the highest in Southwest. I mean, except Oyo State has 42. Oyo 42. Okay, Oyo 42. And Osun has 32. Ekiti has 16, Ondo has 18, Ogun has 18 or so. And if you put all of them together, I'm not sure they are up to the number of local government in the Northwest region, not to talk of the Northeast region and the North Central. And you are not saying you are contending on the strength of South and North. So you know that, look, in number, we may not have as much as these people. If we are serious that power to come here, let us come together to present a force and go to the North. But the truth of the matter is that those in the PDP too, they are, as we spoke and as they agree, they also have the plan B. The plan B is this. If we adopt a candidate from the South, the PDP, and APC goes North to pick a candidate, the North is going to get more votes than us because of their larger number, anytime when they have high political consciousness. Because here, research has shown that our elite don't vote. They stay and watch television. They only eat government, they don't vote, they don't participate. Only the poor. Go and look at, even in this Oshu, in the electoral analysis we did, we discovered that the vote that come from Osogbo, which is the highest, come from the interior part of Osogbo, not the elite area. So our elite are like that. So in the South too, they will not vote. It's only in the North where you have the core of people are not elite who will vote them. And so those people are trying to be smart. It's okay. Let us don't present the candidate from here. So let's people support this man. But rather than say that, they would have totally argued this thing out to say, look, I mean, let us present the candidate. Even if he eventually loses, we would have fulfilled a justification, we would have been satisfied psychologically that we, as a southern people, we had the common front and we pushed it and it went through. And it went through. But the truth of the matter is that as it is in human being, you have just used the language of betrayal and politics. And that is also in life, in struggle for power. Okay. Everybody has his own tactics.
According to reports, Abia and Enugu also voted for Wike. So at the end of the day, this person knew. Yeah. But where I'm going is this. Your Highness Ndibu, has been at the forefront of an Igbo man becoming the next president, has threatened to disown any governor or politician that accepts nomination as running mate. So, is that position not true? Not at the extreme?
They are, well, the people of Igbo, the Igbo, of course, we hear them say the same thing, but actually they are not speaking with the same voice. That is what will make a person like Uzo Kalu to say what he said in support of Atiku. That is what will make Arthur Nzeribe say something different. That is what will make even the IPOB, those who are advocating for succession, say different things. And that is what will make unknown gunmen to be prominent in the Southeast, because they are not speaking with one voice. They say the same thing, they want Biafra, but they are not speaking with one voice, because all the 17 southern governors voted that the presidency must come south. But now, from what we have been saying earlier on and what we know, when it's time to decide, Okowa gave all his delegates to a northerner, others are speaking in favor of northern candidates, and all that.
Imo and Anambra too went for Atiku.
Also for Atiku. So that's what I said. The Igbos are not speaking with one voice. They may be saying the same thing, but not with one voice. And that is what is going to be, or continue to be, the undoing of finding an Igbo president.
Will you advise a governor or any politician in the southeast not to accept to be Atiku's running mate? If we consider the
well, you know, now that
let me go to Akiola.
The threat is empty. The Yoran NSNDB was ascribing to itself the power it does not, the power and the influence it does not have.
Exactly.
That's the truth. They don't have that. Who respect them in the Igbo? Unfortunately, the history of the Igbo, they don't even have respect. They don't even have respect for
Exactly.
They have no hierarchy of leadership. That's what we read about them. That's what we know about them, and that's what they are.
It's Wike and Igbo, man.
I
know there is the Nigerian data.
And if you look at personality, Wike himself does not possess that kind of personality that everybody, likable personality that we expect everybody to have. The way he behaves.
I would disagree with you.
He doesn't have the temperament to be the president of the nation.
He does not have a presidential temperament.
His colleagues may not have said it.
It's my fan, so I would disagree with you.
No, you are entitled to, but it does not have a presidential temperament. We understand what leadership is, and that is what even as
okay. What about a running mate vice president?
As a running mate vice president, it does not have any character that is presidential. Even the governor, the governor the governor of the state they had, and you see how violent, how combustible the state has been in the last 8 years. So a lot of things happen. Election government.
It's not easy to be a governor in that place.
We understand there is no place that is not easy. It is a character. When if you are a person of maturity, certain things will not happen. The body language of leadership determine the response. Sometimes your leadership, your body language can be provoking, and that will also bring a reaction. When somebody is on, sometimes you find it difficult to even react when you know that this thing will not go. In fact, another person will see that, look, if you do it, everybody knows who will do it. But you know that if you have a governor who has a gap, before you say they would have said something, people wanted to say every time to draw him out, provoke him, and put him on the line.
But at least he got 237 votes.
So he did well. Nobody is that
good. He has money.
The votes he got. I don't even agree with the money. The money may be in two ways. It might be like, okay, he will have money to run the election. It may not just be the money to give delegate. The delegate voted for him would have an assumption that this guy has demonstrated courage in the face of this. He has stood his ground. He demonstrated courage. He has been the most consistent PDP person in recent time. And in fact, as your father said, despite the fact I tried to show some level of courage and capacity, does not have a capacity that is equal to that, compared to that of Wike.
Exactly. I'm happy you are saying good things.
No, yes, the truth is the truth. Wike is cool, he's a lawyer. His wife is a judge. You look at that kind of personality, but when you look at his personality, does not have that temperament. But it's not only because he shared money, but people would have assumed that, if a governor of a Rivers State for 8 years, he will have enough resources to fund this election. So, and he has a character that can scare the opposition. So let us put our vote. So that could be what win him about 237 votes. Not just that. But the truth of the matter is that what we have seen has been the history of politics in Nigeria. Nigeria politics is ethnic. Nigeria media, Nigeria history has been very, very ethnic. The vote that Atiku got, the North as a bloc gave him their vote. If you calculate the number of local government in Southeast, South, and Southwest, I don't know the number. I'm not sure that they could also be more than 300. So how many of the southern states gave their vote to Atiku? So the southern states just scream with one voice.
Okay, Ogutomi. Now, on the table now, we have two candidates for as Atiku's running mates. We have Governor Ifeanyi Okowa of Delta and Odom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom.
Both states belong to the South-South, if we are talking geopolitical entity. Yeah. But I know that the man in Delta tilts towards the Igbo nation. And is a fine gentleman. And I learned he has performed creditably. So I will prefer him. It's unfortunate that this gentleman...
Is Manuel not a gentleman?
I don't know much about it.
Okay. But it's not qualified.
It's from South-South. But this gentleman is the man I sympathize with. Obi.
Okay.
I would say has sent himself, from political exile.
Yeah.
Because Labour Party, how to build that structure for him to come to national limelight again, only God knows how he will do that. But if he had remained in the PDP, Obi is extremely intelligent.
He's very intelligent.
So perhaps it could have been the running mate again.
Perhaps it could have been the natural running mate to Atiku. And probably after 4 or 5 years or 8 years, he could have helped the Igbo nation to, as people have been talking about Osinbajo now, maybe then people could have been, if they are able to make it to the presidency next year. But he has left. And
so you prefer Okowa?
I prefer Okowa.
The same thing to you?
Okowa is okay. He's a 2-term senator, he's a medical doctor, and a 2-term governor. So he has more experience. And of course, he's a more practical person. Like Udom is a more religious, is a more apocalyptic and more evangelic governor, building churches and so on. Those are pretenders of Nigeria. I mean, Okowa is a more realistic person, less of religious sentiment, concentrate on governance, less of distraction and noise. But Udom, today build auditorium for church, tomorrow this or that. Those people don't really make...
If those were the things these people wanted.
No, that's not what these people wanted. Leadership determines people. A society is like a family. You are the father. If you say your children want this and do that, you are spoiling them. By the time the consequences come to you, see. Leadership is to show direction.
Okay.
Don't show direction. We don't know. I think it's chance. You are Charles and you are putting somebody building.
Okay, we move to the third topic now.
It's not elected to build churches in any case.
This topic has to do with in the newsroom.
Okay.
Because members of the family members of the newsroom are at loggerheads now with the Nigerian police, Osun State Command in particular, as a result of the alleged shooting by police officers of a journalist with the Nation newspaper, Toba Adedeji, and a lady whose identity is not yet clear. You are a member of Respondent Chapel, Akana.
Yes.
So what actually happened yesterday?
I decided in the same house with Toba. So I've been the one taking care of him since yesterday.
Oh, that's good.
I knew what happened.
So what? Tell us briefly how it started.
Well, it just started at about around 12:31, 1:30 to 2 thereabout. So some young guys dressed in black and black start gathering around under the Elia flyover. Few of them they tried to barricade the road coming from Odilo. So going to Susa's house to turn back the other direction. So as they were doing that, but they are less than 20, the total number of those young guys. So we saw them with one bill poster with a obituary. So when court of interrogating, they said they were coming from Elisha, where they went to bury one Abiola who was shot by police on the 4th of April. And it was just yesterday that after the police denied his call, But after a lot of the intervention of the government, it was yesterday that they released the cop and he went to bury him. So when they were coming, so why are you now in the room? They said the government has not done enough. What, like what? So in the course of just trying to get why they were there, I just had gunshot, pa pa pa. Well, and the next day I had tear gas. So I was standing very close to that where they sell phone. I moved away from the bridge. But Toba and Alaroye, Bola, Punch, Newspaper, and Vanguard, they were all under the bridge. So when they had gunshot, they ran. But I don't, Toba didn't run on time. So those people ran ahead. So suddenly I just saw Toba try to, but he was running. So when he got in front of the chapel, he just said, "What have you people to ban you?" So just like a magic, he was not allowing you to hold him. He said, "No, let us run." He said, hold me. He wanted ban me. And I just look at his leg. The bullet has hit him. Tore his jean trousers and pierced his just like his leg. So we rushed him to Teaching Hospital, where the doctors also were attended. Although when we got there, we had engagement with the warden.
Did they request for police?
No, they said so. They said we should bring police report. And I said, where police report? Please. So I will send a message to the CPS. I think he reached out to them. So maybe they knew. Dr. Ogungbemi, fantastic consultant, had to come in, intervene, and he was practically involved running around for us, and he threat us. We appreciate the CMD because every treatment was done free of charge. We appreciate the intervention of the CPS, particularly Dr.
Ogungbemi. How will you react to this?
I react to it in this way that attack on journalists is increasing. There should never be a uniformed policeman sworn to protect, carrying a deadly weapon to point that deadly weapon at unarmed civilians and then pulling the trigger, whether it was one or two. It is wrong. It hit a journalist. It could have hit another civilian. Well, it did hit somebody that is still being identified. That was uncalled for. Did the police approach the group before opening fire? Did they tell them to disperse,
they did not.
to move away? They did not.
So the police were coming from Ogoluwa axis. The protesters were on the other side. They did not even engage anybody.
So you see,
they just came out of one Korokwe
and opened fire.
Led by the DPO of Dugbe. And they just started shooting. He did not shoot, but his boy shot.
So, is it not the case that it is because the protesters were protesting against the police?
Yes.
As a sort of the killing of Abiola Afolabi. Was that not why they overreacted?
It is condemnable. It is bad. It is, to say the least, unacceptable, uncivilized, and crude, and barbaric. The citizens have the right to protest. Mm-hmm. And there was no evidence of any violence in that place. Mm-hmm. People coming together to say, this is what we don't like, this is what we like. You, as a police corps, is supposed to say,
I told you, I don't even up to 20.
Now we have to thank our gentleman who has become Toby's nurse since yesterday. God will bless you. But whether a journalist, whether a student, whether anybody, the gun they are parading is given to them to protect Nigerian citizens. Mm-hmm. We are no animals. Sometimes you are at a checkpoint, you see a police officer raising the rifle like this. I would just say, like, if you are in the bush hunting.
Okay.
If you want to kill somebody.
Why do you think the police and journalists are having this repeated face-off? A number of occasions.
Yeah, it's natural.
Why this?
There are two sides of a coin. They do almost the same job. The journalists need information to keep the people abreast of activity, and the police also want to keep the people secure. The police must ensure that there is no protest, that it can go violent. The police is also supposedly, performing his own personal.
So the police are.
So there will always be class, because number one, the journalists want to go in there to know what is happening. The police say you cannot go beyond this limit.
But in this instance,
that is part of the EU. The journalists too. Journalists were not part of the protest. Our job. You have to go and do what even at war. You have to go and cover the war that you didn't cause. It did not cause a protest, but you have to cover the protest. The police that are shot. I'm an objective person. Did not aim at shooting any.
I won't believe they are targeting a particular set of people.
Anybody. But what they did was, trying to disperse the people. But why do you have to face gun in such a manner that you could hit anybody?
So that's because you know how to handle rifle. You are trained by the sources of government.
Yes.
Now, why would any police officer or policeman with a rifle, live bullets, fire at a civilian?
Well, I call to question what kind of training they have or they are giving police officers. Now, the second thing I question is the psychological makeup of the average police officer. Do they go through psychological evaluation on a periodic basis? And what kind of training are they given in terms of handling weapons and dealing with members of the public?
If they are not given training, so
I'm not saying they are not given training, but what kind?
Killing people on the streets.
What kind of training are they given?
We should give them that training.
I think we as journalists should find a way through NUJ to get with the Commissioner of Police and if possible IGP to look at what kind of training they are giving them and then look at the procedure. Maybe the training is deficient.
The NUJ had issued a threat for the deployment of the Commissioner of Police.
Yes.
How will you react to that?
Yes, I sympathize with the CP.
The
CP is completely a gentleman, a complete gentleman. I've interacted with them, and that aspect of it, I can't go against my union. Our leaders have taken a position, but I think it may not be good enough for us to issue deadlines or otherwise. There are issues sometimes that you come together and you resolve. Now, what we will have done as a body, a professional body, is to task him to fish out whoever did that and to ensure that appropriate punishment is meted. Whether we like it or not, for even Abuja to get any report from Osun, it must pass through the CP. So for us to now say, unfortunately, I learned yesterday was his birthday.
He even came to our house.
He's a gentleman. He was in my office.
At about 8 p.m. yesterday, he came to visit the guy that was it.
But I think why the NUJ is somehow hard on him or on the command is because these cases have become...
No, it was not necessary. I'm sorry too, like, I adopt the submission of my Oga, and I want to say, well, it's our union, but notwithstanding, we take a different position. Such a thing does not require rash reaction. You let us sit down to look at things and take decision. Number one, the issue is this. DPO, the CP did not shoot, was not there. What we should do, identify those who shot, prosecute them, and if they are guilty, sanction them. That will serve as deterrent. Removing, redeploy a CP, will it not go to another state to work? Would that stop that? No, it was not a correct one. Let us speak to it. Who killed Biola? Has it been identified? After we call that, sometimes when a policeman shot somebody dead there, the police tried that hospital that they are certain. He was dismissed that same day. The same commissioner of police got the officer dismissed. So what we will do is to help the police. Because I remember when he came to our house yesterday, he was asking some question, was asking about, did you identify those who shot? What can you say about them? That shows that it cannot be everywhere at the same time. Let us be fair. It may, like, who and who. All we need to do as a people, as a union, is to help him identify, provide information, to identify those who are responsible. If you now identify them and he refuses to act, they will now begin to say, oh, redeploying is covering his people. But we have not said that, we just said he deployed the CP.
What kind of instruction were they given when they were going to Olaya flyover? Were they told to shoot at sight? Did the leader give any command to anybody to open fire? There was none.
The DPO should be in charge of that.
The DPO was even there. The DPO was there.
I saw them shooting.
He led them. I'm saying it on there. He was there. He dressed in a black shirt, in a black uniform.
And did he give the order to shoot?
He would have been the one who was the most officer. He didn't carry a gun anyway. But 3 other officers were behind, 3 other guys were behind him in Mufti. He was there and they were the one that shot.
Do you have an idea of the number of police officers?
About 3 of them. We have to run for their lives. So I know there's 3 people behind the DPO.
But there was no instruction for the people to disperse.
It would have. There was no instruction.
No,
they
they
were about 20
Exactly.
meters apart, 10 to 20 meters. They just came through from Koro, just highlighted and opened fire. There was no engagement with anybody. Those people were there yesterday. If you send small boys to them, they will flog them and they will leave that line.
Exactly.
So you don't even require any force, any engagement.
Okay, that's our time. How far time will permit us on today's edition of this program in the newsroom. Let me appreciate Adewale Adewumi for your contribution.
Thank you very
much.
Yes, will you invite me next Wednesday?
I love your company, so I will try to do that. And Akiola, thanks for your contribution too.
Thank you so much.
In the newsroom, we'll be back tomorrow. My name is Abiodun Olalede. We'll see some other time. Bye-bye.